Baby, it's cold outside. Hey, it's a lot better than the forecast looked a couple of days ago. Game 2 after the off day, yeah, the Nats are going to win. Mets, Nats here, game 2 of this 3-game series. It'll feature a lot of blankets, a lot of stocking caps, and a Sunday night game tomorrow. Gio and Mats, Bob and FP, welcome to the ballpark. A little chilly here today, but that doesn't necessarily hurt a couple of big sluggers. They may be 7 years apart in age, but there are similarities between their Cespedes and our Harper.
Yeah, I mean, both two premier sluggers in the big leagues today. I mean, both came up at the same time. When you look 2012, the games played, both have had injuries, both have had tremendous careers so far. When you look at the numbers, 157 home runs for Cespedes, 154 for Bryce, 502 RBIs, 430 RBIs. But when you break down their swings, I mean, they're both good low ball hitters. Bryce Harper loves the ball down. He has 430 RBI, by the way, too shy of Ian Desmond for second all-time in franchise history. And then when you look at what he's done earlier this year, he's absolutely locked in. This guy may be the best low ball hitter in all baseball when you talk about what he's done. 33 home runs in the month of March and April, most of any month in his career. He loves the low ball. You saw that ball he hit off Strasburg yesterday down the zone. So interesting matchup today. Gio Gonzalez with the two-seam fastball down. Does he elevate against Cespedes? We'll keep an eye on that.
Gio, 49 degrees in Cincinnati when he pitched pretty well last Sunday, and he's always been dominant against New York.
Yeah, I mean, he's loved to pitch in Citi Field. You remember he had the near no-hitter there, and we'll see how he does here against a really good hitting lineup. We saw it the other day.
Yeah, the Mets are good this year, guys. Gio is 14-5 career, ERA under 3. Last 11 starts against New York, he's won 8 of 9 decisions with a 2.39 ERA. So the kid from South Florida will have to be hot against the Mets in a cold yard today. Breeze is blowing from the left field corner over to the other side here at Nationals Park today. Cloudy skies, 45% humidity, 42 degrees at game time, and the high for today won't be much above that, if at all. So Gio's going to take on the Mets. Cespedes bats second, 7 for 13 against Gio, and 2 of those are solo home runs, couple of walks, 3 strikeouts. Wilmer Flores, 5 hits career against Gio, and Juan Lagares is hitting .372 against Gonzalez. Couple of guys not known for big-time slugging. Gio's in his sleeves today, FP, so sending a message about his toughness right now. Underway, first pitch, base hit. Right on time at 105 by Asdrubal Cabrera. And then he goes to second base. Things happening a little slowly in left field, and Cabrera kept on going.
Well, you talk about being ready on the first pitch of the game. Base hit, ball just kind of comes up on Brian Goodwin, and Cabrera, who you don't really think of like a true leadoff hitter with speed, hustling all the way, never really slowed down, took a good turn, and the hesitation kept going into second. So single and an E7, runner on second, nobody out. That's how this one starts.
Nationals' 4th error of the year. Brian Goodwin's first, and here's Yoenis Cespedes. 6 for 22 to start the season, and half of his hits have been home runs.
Yeah, last start opened the season with 6 strong against the Reds. 6-5 win, earned the sweep in Cincinnati. Gave up just 1 run on 5 hits, struck out 7 Reds through 92 pitches in that one. So we told you, fastball, curveball change. Fastball averaging 90 so far this year.
Tried to check, 0-2.
Yeah, check out this swing from Cespedes. You don't see this very often. Kind of in between, right? Realized it was a ball. He likes the ball down. That was a fastball up. We'll keep an eye on that all day.
Now the 0-2 with Howie playing up the middle behind the runner. Cespedes turns and hits a long foul ball.
And that's defense today. Goodwin, Taylor, Harper, your outfield. Turner, Rendon, left side. Kendrick Zimmerman, right side. And Pedro Severino behind the plate. Brian Goodwin gets the nod in left. Dave Martinez said today that he expects Adam Eaton to be back in the starting lineup tomorrow.
That's great news. And the 0-2 again as Gio baits him on the outside edge. 23 years in the big leagues for the home plate umpire Marty Foster. Mark Ripperger at first. Crew chief Joe West out at second base. 41st year, and Doug Eddings at third.
41st year. You just said that all casually. That's a long time.
That's a long time to do anything. Cespedes, a high drive, left field corner, not deep enough to leave the yard, and Goodwin is going to throw it to third and a little bit offline. Good base running by Cabrera to get over there with 1 out on the long foul out.
Yeah, Brian Goodwin getting tested early, right? A base hit that he had trouble with, and it looked like that ball was blown all over the place, right? He was camped initially and then started going toward the line into foul territory late, and a good base running by Asdrubal Cabrera tagging up on that ball, advancing to third with just 1 out.
So the number 3 man is Wilmer Flores today. Off to a 1-for-8 start. Away again, 2-0.
And Adam Eaton looking on, just a little tweak of the ankle on that slide into home plate, and they're thinking maybe he just broke some scar tissue, and Brian Goodwin gets the nod today and left.
And if you missed Nats Extra, bunch of other changes today. Miguel Montero to the paternity list. Jonathan Solano called up to replace him as the backup catcher now, and Enny Romero designated for assignment, and the Nats replace him with a position player, former Met Matt Reynolds. So those are the assignments for today, as Enny Romero has been let go by the Nats. Still a 7-man bullpen with 3 left-handers.
I don't think Gio was too upset about that walk. He's thinking, okay, runner on third, 1 out. Fall behind, walk him, and I'm looking for a double play ball here with Todd Frazier with that 2-seam fastball.
Frazier not a fast runner, and Gio gets the low strike on the off speed. So Frazier 4 for 21 to start the year, 2 for 11 career against Gio.
Six years with the Nats, 79 and 54, 186 career starts in that year. Seems like yesterday when the Nats got him from the A's.
One. That's a heater up in the zone to get ahead 1-2.
I don't hasn't thrown a curveball yet. Let's see if he decides to break one out here. High fastball. Do you go for the ground ball or the punch out? You'll take either.
He'll get the punch out on a changeup, diving away from Todd Frazier.
Big strikeout. The kid from Hialeah, Florida, with no sleeves and 44-degree temperature, strikes out Todd Frazier. You're right, Carp. You pointed that out early. That's just mind over matter right now.
I like it.
The fist pump from Pedro Severino, too. Love his energy back there.
There's Travis d'Arnaud, who was on the bench when Kevin Plawecki got the start here on Thursday. Off to a good start, 2 for 6, a homer, couple of RBIs. There's the curveball, and it was roundhouse enough to come back and catch the corner.
Trying to wiggle out of this thing. Pedro Severino looking into the dugout to bench coach Chip Hale. That's for a first and third defense. Watch, he's going to come out in front of the home plate right now and say, you know, if Wilmer Flores decides to go right here, what are we doing? We throwing through? Am I fake pumping going to third? Am I just going to eat it? I would think they would throw here if Flores decides to go, but the Mets never run.
Yeah, 1 stolen base so far as a team.
Yeah, it's not their style. You know, Sandy Alderson, they believe in grinding out at-bats, on-base percentage, and then popping home runs out of the yard. They're not a running team. They don't have a lot of team speed. There's Mickey Callaway, the new skipper for the Mets.
Yeah, off to a great start. 4-1 at home. Beat the Nats here on Thursday. Unbeaten in the division, 3-0. And a 1-2 again. Swing and a miss. Severino blocked it, throws him out, and Gio Gonzalez does a great job of pitching around the base hit and the error. No better time to act than today, PNC. Make today the day. And by Lexus. Experience amazing. Yeah, I bet you they're selling some fleeces and jackets and coats in the team store. Some stocking caps today. Here come the Nats. Michael A. Taylor in the number 6 spot. 3 career hits, a home run against Steven Matz. Maybe that'll get him going behind Howie in front of Goodwin. Trey Turner with Adam Eaton just dinged up a bit, leading off with Rendon, Harper, and Zim. the regular 2.34. Steven Matz, 1-2 career, 4 starts against the Nats, but with a good ERA.
Suffered the loss on April 1st against the Cardinals. He's lost his last 9 decisions dating back to July 9th, 2017. The Mets are 1-9 his last 10 starts. He allowed 3 runs in 4 in his last start. Struck out 4, walked 2. So fastball, curveball change. Occasional slider for Mets.
And Trey looks at a couple, 1-1. Turner steps in 6 for 26. Head against Matz with a double, 1 for 8. Gonna lay down a bunt and then chase the ball down the line, and a base hit for Trey Turner.
I'll tell you what, if he can include that in his arsenal, he's going to hit 300 in his sleep. I mean, that was perfect. And did you see the 3-alarm fire drill that ensued once he laid it down? Matz didn't know what to do. Do I get the ball? Do I cover the bag? What do I do? So just a simple bunt by Trey Turner and his speed, it's a full-blown panic. Watch this. Do I get it? Do I go to the bag? What do I do if I'm Wilmer Flores? And then Matz tried to shovel it at the end, but that's just beautiful. And that's something that Trey Turner probably should do a lot more if he's going to do it like that. And that's a knock a day if he can lay that one down. Beautiful. And there goes a no-hitter.
It's been a regular thing with the leadoff guys for you early in the season. Here's Anthony Rendon, who had a great game Thursday. Trey, pretty good lead. He's 3 for 3. Michael A is 3 for 3. And the Nats, along with Milwaukee, lead the National League in steals so far with 7. Nats have only been caught once. Anthony Rendon 3 for 3 and a walk on Thursday. Couple of doubles.
Trey in a box. See if he gets a read on Steven Matz. But Carp, it doesn't even have to be that good about it. That was perfect. Right. Half of that bunt works. I mean, even if he just lays it down somewhere toward the first baseline, if he gets real comfortable with it and actually pushes it past the pitcher toward the second baseman, he could stroll into first. Just another way for him to get his speed on and affect how the pitcher thinks.
Nationals, who scored Thursday early, have 12 first inning runs in their first 7 games.
And if you mess it up, you still have guys moving around playing shallower to take it away. Opens up holes.
A lot of ground ball, room right side for Anthony.
See if he gets a read on Matz. It doesn't look like anything special in his move unless he's got a better one.
There he goes. Pitches a strike, and that is a steal for Trey Turner. Darno a 1-hopper to Rosario, and Trey is 4 for 4.
You know, I know the game today has evolved into strikeouts, walks, and home runs, but isn't this cool? I mean, don't you like this type of baseball? A base hit bunt to start things up, a couple throwovers he's got to read, and then Travis d'Arnaud, who they've given a lot of fits to over the years, throws a 1-hopper, 4 stolen base. This is fun to watch. I love this brand of baseball.
Yeah, now you have the ideal guy in the batter's box if you're looking to move a runner. Although Rendon does face a 1-2 count, they're going to jam him. And Marty Foster gives a couple of strikes right under the hands of the right-handed batter. 1 out.
It's been the book on Anthony early in the season. Opponents pounded him in. Is that inside? Yeah, PitchCast says it is. But we've seen the first 3 opponents, the Reds, the Braves, and now the Mets, throw Anthony Rendon inside consistently with the fastball.
Bryce Harper in a lefty-lefty matchup. 2 for 9 career against Steven Matz.
Boy, Trey could beat Todd Frazier to third. Look how far Frazier's off the base.
See, they need Rosario to let Trey know that he's around.
And Frazier looking over his shoulder to see if he's going.
You know he's dying to.
But as a third baseman, and we'll give you a shot of it maybe here in a second once everybody gets set. You go as far as you think you can go to beat the runner back to the base, and Frazier's kind of playing in the 5.5 hole, looking over his shoulder, and he knows that if Trey Turner takes off, he's got to sprint to the base. Look how far he's got to go to the base. normally, Carp, you'd never think about stealing third. A, with a left-hander up, and B, with Bryce Harper. But Trey Turner's the exception to the rule. He's that fast.
Bryce got a pitch inside, went inside out to the left field side.
Let's set the Mets defense for you real quick behind Bryce Harper. Cespedes, Lagares, Bruce, the outfield. Rosario, Frazier, left side. Cabrera, Flores, right side. And Travis d'Arnaud behind the plate. Lowercase D apostrophe uppercase A, just like DeGrom, in case you're wondering.
Yeah, and how do the equipment guys do that? They take a P and they turn it upside down to make it into a small D. He's got a 22% career caught stealing mark, d'Arnaud.
Did you just make that up, or did they really do that?
No, I looked at it.
All right.
It's an upside down P.
Because if you made that up, that's fantastic. I mean, you can't make that up. Pretty close pitch to Bryce, right? Down and away. What do you got? Good frame by d'Arnaud. He's one of the better receivers of picking up the low pitch.
Bryce looking for RBI number 10. With the off day, a couple of guys have passed him in the RBI race. Gregory Polanco with the Pirates 11, Freddie Freeman 10.
Away, away, away.
Yeah, Juan Lagares a good 20 feet toward the left center gap. Other outfielders pretty straight away. Cespedes a bit toward the left field line. Target on the outside edge. Bryce can't get to it. 2 down.
All right, throw some StatCast at you real quick here today and show you how fast Trey Turner is. There's the bunt. How fast did he run? 31.5 feet per second. 30 is considered a lead, so talk amongst yourselves. And there's 29.2. 3.6 seconds from first to second. The speed of Trey Turner. What is the holder there on his chin? Is that like where you put your cell phone? What is that? Put some pens in there?
I don't know.
I mean, I've seen that on everybody. There's like, I think that's where you put your phone.
Maybe a chin warmer in there.
Oh, good call.
1-0 to Zimmerman. Ryan off to a 3 for 22 start, looking for his first career hit against Steven Matz. Marty Foster liking that inside strike, but the right-handed hitters aren't.
See the wow out of Ryan Zimmerman. Watch the frame by d'Arnaud. Kind of holds it there, pulls it back in, and Marty Foster is buying what Travis d'Arnaud is selling behind the plate.
There's another one. Hey, if you're the pitcher, why don't you stay in there? 2-2.
This one a little closer. A little bit. Ball 4 to Ryan Zimmerman. The count goes to 2-2.
Upstairs for the strikeout. So Matz gives up the bunt base hit. Trey steals second. Then he strikes out Rendon, Harper, and Zimmerman.
jam that we felt like you need to see it again. So a couple of strikeouts to end it after a leadoff single and an error and a walk, and we are still scoreless here at Nats Park.
6, 7, 8 for the Mets with the pitcher batting 8th. So Gio faces Jay Bruce to start things off. He was the cleanup guy on Thursday, had the double in the second inning, then the grand slam that pretty much put an end to the proceedings in the top of the 7th in that 8-2 Mets win. 4 for 23 career against our left-hander. A lot of people said Jay Bruce signed way too early. He signed on January 10th, a 3-year, $39 million deal. A lot of folks said, well, why didn't he wait? He could have gotten a whole lot more money. Well, Jay Bruce turned out to be pretty smart on that deal because, if anything, the prices went down after that, and some guys weren't getting offers at all. So he got locked up by the Mets right after the first of the year and didn't spend a couple of months sitting around worrying about where he might be playing.
Yeah, one of the nicest guys you ever meet, too. And I think he had trouble with the whole New York thing when he first came over there. And now obviously embraced it. Yeah, he could still be on that island of misfit toys with all the other free agents.
Yeah. Hit only .219 in 50 games when he joined the Mets in the 16 season from the Reds. Howie from out there in right field. I'd say at least half of his assists have come from out on the grass so far.
All right, Pups in the Park is presented by Budweiser. Returned 6 times in 2018. So if you have 6 dogs, bring 1 to every Pups in the Park. Don't miss the first chance to bring your canine buddy to the ballpark. Sunday, April 8th, the Nats take on the Mets. That's tomorrow. Proceeds benefit the Humane Rescue Alliance. Visit nationals.com for tickets.
And I have a great idea. All of you folks who bring your pups, bring along a small sign that says, hey, FP, this dog is blank.
This dog is stupid.
No, I'm talking about breed. And,
all right.
You know,
yeah.
Just so there's no misidentification going.
I got you. Well, we won't be.
Or they could mislead you, and you'd have to figure it out.
We won't be here tomorrow, so maybe Matt Vasgersian could identify the breeds, or J-Lo for that matter.
Juan Lagares is now 6 of 11, and with that base hit, he's hitting over .380 career against Gio. So here's where the pitcher hitting 8th comes into play. Fewer than 2 outs. Bunt situation for Steven Matz, who's a .169 career hitter. He can handle a bat. 8 sacrifice bunts, 12 for 71 career. Rendon on the grass at 3rd. So they're batting their young prospect shortstop Ahmed Rosario 9th behind the pitcher.
Yeah, Matz can hit a little bit. I want to say he homered in his first career start. I don't know if I'm remembering that right, but I remember he can hit. Maybe he had 2 hits in his first start. That's what I'm thinking.
I'm glad Severino didn't throw that ball. Ryan Zimmerman had been charging, and the only one near the bag was the umpire.
Yeah, 3 for 3 with a double in his first start. So 3rd time's the charm. There you go. By the end of this at bat, it'll be 5 for 5 in the cycle in his first start.
That was in 2015. He went 4-0 at the end of the season after the call-up in 6 starts. His career ERA against the Nats very good, 2.17.
It's a good hack.
Yeah, they don't mind letting him rip on 2 strikes.
Yeah, fastball up. Tad late, but that's not your typical National League pitcher's hack.
When they signed him, he became the 999th player in Mets history. They've had a dozen or so pitchers from Long Island who've made it to the big club over the years. Two. Ball hit the side of the mound. Howie, Trey, and Zim, and a tailor-made 4-6-3 double play ball. So Gio saves himself a bunch of pitches with that, and he's put 2 zeros up.
For tickets, visit nationals.com for details. There's Bob's pass list.
They're doing the Carlton at the yard today. Experience the power and toughness of Ram at your local dealer. Log on to ramtrucks.com to get to work. Guts, glory, Ram. So the do-ups brought to you by Ram last season against the Mets. Howie did great as a Philly and as a Net against New York. Michael A. had some extra base hit and RBI moments. And Brian Goodwin, solid like he was against just about everybody else last year. So Howie will step in, 8 for 23, batting .348. 42 degrees at game time.
Yeah, I mean, I was seeing 18 inches of snow when we were in Atlanta. Then I saw like 5 to 8. Then I saw, you know, flurries with an occasional like mix. Then I woke up today and there was nothing. So like I always say, what do a weatherman and a Hall of Fame baseball player have in common? They're right 3 out of 10 times.
And you go to the Hall of Fame.
Go to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, the computer models.
3 out of 10 heart surgery successful. You're not probably working very long.
Fastball in there to Howie, 2-1.
I would say 3 out of 10 landings for a pilot, but you're probably just going to be 0 for 1 if you're bad.
Howie, feet all over the place, trying to hit one a mile.
Yeah, he worked on that this winter, getting something inside and turning on it. And this was inside, and he was trying to turn on it. I like it. Nothing in the bag right there. That's a driver on a par 5. Let it rip.
There's that inside fastball, and a lot of hitters taking exception to Marty Foster's inside strike zone. 4 strikeouts in a row for Steven Matz.
Kevin Long shaking his head. He's hearing it from the hitters going back to the bench, and Kevin will go in the clubhouse between innings and check out a strike zone. That one a little closer than Ryan's were, but Howie didn't like it.
Well, I think it's been pretty fairly established now, and the hitters need to adjust. Easier said than done.
Well, I always say that you don't change your strike zone ever for you young players because of an umpire until maybe you get to 2 strikes. You know, why should you try to hit everything until you have to? You know, stay in your game plan, stay in your zone, and maybe with 2 strikes you think about expanding because there's a wide zone as Darno takes a foul tip.
So that was a curveball. Good catch by a fan downstairs, and Michael A continues to battle 0-2 here.
See, now, Carp, is when you maybe expand a little bit more because of if you think the umpire is wide in any league, whenever. And you see the game plan by Matz, it's hard in with 2 strikes. Darno's trying to frame it up and catch it to make it look like a strike in there.
That one elevated a bit. In there again, but way off the plate, 2-2. Foul tip for the strikeout, and the K's keep on coming. 5 in a row for Steven Matz. Mercedes-Benz on the pitch cast.
You know, everything's to the glove side. You remember Bryce Harper's at bat. Everything away, but to the righties, Rendon, Zimmerman, Kendrick, and now Taylor. Everything in from Steven Matz. So he's throwing everything to the glove side like Jacob deGrom did on the home opener.
There's Brian Goodwin. And by the way, the Mets have had outstanding pitching lately. Goodwin 1 for 3 against Matz. Their ERA, second best in the major leagues, 2.33. Best in the National League. Red Sox are at 2.09. So they're not giving up much of anything. A league low 15 runs given up, giving their hitters time to warm up in some of these cold weather conditions.
You know what? He's got a good rhythm going right now. And on a cold day, it's imperative for a pitcher to work quick. You don't want your defense standing out there in the cold and freezing because you want them to hit when they're on offense. But if you're hitting against Matz right now, maybe you disrupt his rhythm by stepping out. He's just getting it and going. He got a great tempo going. He's in a groove already. You know, maybe something gets in your eye, or you go back to the on deck circle and put some more pine tar on. Whatever it is, he's in some kind of rhythm.
Two and two. Steven Matz, 26 years of age, 15 and 16 career. Front door curveball stays up and in. And a base runner with 2 outs for Severino.
All right, Nats fans, with the Nats win and score 7 runs or more, get 50% off regular menu prices online orders at papajohns.com with promo code NATS50. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Pedro off to a great start since his call up. 2 for 4, an RBI, couple of walks. Been hit by 2 pitches already. Curveball in there. Good one, 0 for 1 stealing.
Severino didn't like that either.
Better be swinging if it's close, especially inner edge, inner half. Kind of weird. 8th batter in the lineup. 1 contact so far, and that's the bunt hit by Trey Turner. Everything else strikeouts and a walk.
What did I say earlier? There's 3 true outcomes now in Major League Baseball: strikeout, walks, and homers. That's trying to check that last box. Nice lead.
Going. Pitch up into second base without a throw. Brian Goodwin. So he's on the board with his first steal.
So early in the count with the 8-hitter up, it's not really conducive to run because they'll just pitch around him and the pitcher will come up and hit. But late in the count, you know, it's all systems go, and that's why you saw Brian Goodwin there. Great jump. Chance to drive him in here. We'll see what Matz does. Does he get greedy and try to get Severino here, or does he pitch around him?
So Gio waiting. Low. So after 2 strikeouts, 2 long counts, one of them a walk.
Throw another curveball. Changeup.
Up the middle. Ball drops. Lagares has a great arm. Great speed coming home. And out is Goodwin at the plate. From Juan Lagares, a former Gold Glove winner.
So there's guys that can throw in the big leagues, and there's guys that can throw people out. Lagares has always been a guy that can throw and throw people out, meaning he's accurate too. Chip Hale on the horn to see if Brian Goodwin either was safe or had a lane. Was d'Arnaud blocking the plate before Goodwin slid, or did the throw take him into it? We're going to take you to commercial with this, and we'll let you know it come back. Look at the throw by Lagares. Right on the money, and it looks like Brian Goodwin was out, and d'Arnaud did everything right. Accurate throw right on the money. Good tag by d'Arnaud. He can block the plate after he catches it, or at least go to tag and block the plate. Nowhere to go for Brian Goodwin right there. See, he was out in front and then he came back. If he was straddling it before, then there's nowhere to go. I think Dave Martinez not talking so much about that to Joe West. He was trying to hold play for them to look at it in the clubhouse, and somebody waved him on. In my opinion, based on what we saw during the break. I think he wanted to check a little bit more in the replay, but the umpires were like, let's go, let's play, and he didn't have a chance.
Yeah, Joe West does have a reputation for trying to hurry games along. 22-year-old #1 Mets prospect Ahmed Rosario signed with the Mets back in 12 at the age of 16. In his first big league experience last year, after being called up July 31st, he had 248 in 46 games, stole 7 bases. He is their up-and-coming shortstop, 1-2. Gio bounces one. And not to be lost in all of that, Pedro Severino continues to impress the Nats and us offensively.
Just going to say that.
He's now 3 out of 5. Couple of walks. So he's been on base 7 times in limited action. And Gio on his backside finishing off that play. Wow.
We can laugh now because he's okay, but that's scary. Bench having a little chuckle about it, but Gio Gonzalez, a line drive right back at him. And watch this. I mean, it's all fun and games when you get the glove up in front of your face, but that could have been ugly, folks. Gio Gonzalez with cat-like reflexes right there. And now we can all laugh, Gio.
And you've made this point a lot of times. You see that ball had no spin on it whatsoever. Knuckled at him. He absolutely centered that ball, did Rosario. Top of the order, here's Cabrera. First pitch of the game, a base hit to left. This will send Trey Turner to his left. 2 down. Cespedes is next.
You know, I'm totally against chewing tobacco, and it's the one thing I wish I never did when I played. But you could put your spitter in the front part of that thing Trey's got on if you dipped. You just put your spitter in right there and spit right into it.
This anti-public service announcement brought to you by FP Santangelo.
Just saying, some of the guys still do it. Trey doesn't.
Yeah, our late great friend Joe Garagiola spoke out against
I don't know what
smokeless tobacco for many years.
Is that like just so you can breathe and
yeah, maybe
your bad breath doesn't ricochet?
That's a fair ball. Severino to Zimmerman, and Gio, thanks in part to his cat-like reflexes, has a very quick top of the 3rd. Visit nationals.com for tickets. Now Gio, he really can't come back on Wednesday. Look at Christian, our roving camera guy, bringing us some hot chocolate up to the booth. Can we see that in Exmo?
Here's a hot chocolate. Mine's an Irish coffee.
Ball ripped. Gio robbed of a hit by Todd Frazier. Both teams playing some D here.
I couldn't tell from up here. That hit the ground, Carp. He threw it to first. I think it was a one-hopper. Hard to tell from way up here. Yeah, look at that play. Fully extended, got up, threw it to first. Like you said, robbed a hit from Gio Gonzalez.
Said, you rob my shortstop, I rob you. Here's Turner. Trey with a bunt base hit. Things happening quickly in this game. Pitchers around the plate. Big time rip by Trey, who's hit a home run. So his base hit makes him 7 for 27 on the year. Busted bat, but he knew he better swing. Frazier, and boy, does Trey Turner make the routine play. So close. 2 outs.
Our DC Lexus dealers donate $250 to the Children's National Health System for the first 200 home runs hit by the Nats this season. Lexus experience amazing. Went to the children's ball last night, Carp, at Union Station. It was awesome. Great cause.
Heard they dressed up the old train station pretty beautifully last night, huh?
It was an amazing event for an amazing cause.
Here's Rendon. Curveball for a strike. Steven Matz dealing. Gio has retired 7 of his last 8. On a cold day for a hitter, which in April is not pleasant, do you stay with your game plan or do you get a little more aggressive on a day like this with a guy who's around the plate?
It's a great question. I always was, I guess, I don't want to say afraid, but aware of the inside fastball, because, you know, when it's cold, your muscles have a tendency not to move as fast. You're a little more stiff. You have layers on too, and you don't want to get jammed. On a cold day, it hurts when you get jammed on an inside fastball, and that might be why Steven Matz is throwing everybody in, especially the right-handers.
Yeah, it's great strategy. And, you know, Trey Turner, he knew he had to swing at that pitch a minute ago. He broke his bat and grounded out. That would have been a called third strike. Because Marty Foster's been ringing him up. There it is. And Rendon is befuddled. And he's been thrown out of the game. Anthony Rendon has been ejected by Marty Foster. That was a quick trigger. Are you showing up the umpire when you drop your bat like that?
Well, maybe, but I don't know if it warrants getting thrown out of the game.
Exactly.
I don't know if he's ever gotten ejected from a game or ever even had a beef with an umpire.
Davey Martinez getting his money's worth. And he is scraping up the part of the batter's box on that side of home plate where his hitters have been repeatedly rung up today.
How do you like that, folks? The passion from the new skipper, having his players back, one of his best players back. He's getting a standing note from everybody here at Nats Park, and we'll take a look at it again. A lot of action here.
Anthony did not say a word.
Watch his lips. He didn't say a word.
Well, shocking turn of events. The pitch, as we looked at it, pretty good pitch. Anthony Rendon dropped his bat, didn't say a word, and he's been thrown out.
Well, he flipped his bat. The pitch is irrelevant. It's all he did was flip his bat and stand there.
How to play on this swing, top of the 4th underway, Flores.
And this is an emotional game, and if you can't flip your bat on a call, he didn't say a word. Watch Anthony Rendon. Does he say a word? And he got thrown out right there. He didn't say a word. Usually you have to say the magic word, and a lot of people know what the magic word is. And then Dave Martinez has been hearing it from hitter after hitter after hitter, and they're looking at tape in the clubhouse between innings. And I'll say that whatever you want to say about anything, Rendon didn't say anything. That's a lot of buildup from maybe the zones the last couple 2 or 3 days. Trey Turner got ejected, now Anthony Rendon. I love a manager that has his players back. Whether you're right or wrong when you go out there to argue, Dave Martinez just won tons of points with everybody in the first base dugout. He went and had Anthony Rendon's back. Rendon could have been wrong. Bobby Cox used to get ejected for the Braves all the time, and he would say, I don't care if they're right or wrong. He's my player, and if he's arguing, I'm not going to let him hang out there. And he would go have his players back. What Dave Martinez just did is going a long way in that clubhouse. I'll tell you that right now.
3-2 to Flores. Fly ball. Shallow center for Michael A. So you saw Matt Reynolds, the former Met, on the day he got called up at third base, and here we are at Nationals Park with a lot of controversy. 2 o'clock hour upon us, top of the 4th, no score. Chip Hale, the bench coach, will now skipper the ball club. Great baseball man right there. Here's Todd Frazier. So yesterday, Doug Eddings, or rather Thursday, Doug Eddings tosses Trey Turner.
What I mean, I want to explain myself to fans that might not get it. You'll hear players on occasion say, my manager left me hanging. What's that mean? Well, if I'm out there arguing a safe for out call, which you don't see very often with replay, or a ball or strike call, and you just let me argue and you don't come and have my back, it's perceived as your manager didn't agree with you, and he's kind of showing you up by leaving you hanging out there arguing by yourself. When he's right there and he has your back, now you feel like, okay, my manager's with me. And it goes a long way in the clubhouse, especially with the first-time skipper and a new manager on a team, that he had Rendon's back, regardless if it's a ball or a strike is not the point. And I've heard from some Nats players in the past kind of, you know, under the radar, kind of mumbling about so-and-so left me hanging out there last night. He never comes and has my back when I'm arguing. So even though it's a small thing, and yeah, was it a ball or strike? Not the point right now. The fact that he went out there, one of his best players had his back, was really good stuff. I mean, you never want to get thrown out of a game this early, and the frustration is mounted over some ball and strike calls over the last couple days.
No, I like a lot what Davey Martinez did. And then he proceeded to carve up, at least in the dirt, that side of home plate. So the walk by Todd Frazier, now Travis d'Arnaud. Gio has one double play today. Check in with Dan quickly.
Another quick thing after Davey Martinez got tossed. Chip Hale, his bench coach, immediately approached him as he was going down the dugout steps, put his arm around him, and was talking strategically about how to map out the rest of this ball game. So even though Davey very emotional, kind of calmly talking to Chip Hale right afterwards, the two of them mapping things out. Good communication.
Yeah, and those two guys are next to each other talking the entire game. Bench coach keeps track of what's ahead, personnel, bullpen, pinch hitter matchups. Everything that involves the ball game, that bench coach is in on. Usually the manager's most trusted guy. 1-2, and this one to center for Taylor again. Edge of the track, 2 outs.
And usually there's some leeway, Carp. You could say that was terrible, you missed that call, but as soon as you say you're terrible,
yeah,
you personalize it, that's when you usually get thrown out. And there was no words exchanged there. Anthony just flipped his bat and stood there. In my mind, that's way too quick of a hook for anybody. A Mets player, a Nats player, any player in baseball. You need to say something to be thrown out of a game, I think.
Here's Jay Bruce, ground ball to Howie Kendrick in right field first time. And it's low. Well, Gio doing his part to this point. Couple of walks, but just 2 singles so far. Juan Lagares, who's on deck, has had tremendous success against Gio, including a hit today. So in this situation, Bruce might be the less dangerous of the two, and Gio finally gets into the count 3-1. Ball ripped beyond the reach of Ryan Zimmerman. Harper bringing it in, and the Mets will hold the runners at second and third with 2 outs. Now you can walk Juan Lagares and pitch to the pitcher.
Yeah, nice job by cutting this ball off. As soon as Bryce Harper cuts this ball off, you can't send Todd Frazier. So good hustle by Bryce. That ball kind of hooked on Ryan Zimmerman, got handcuffed, and Bryce, as soon as he catches this, gets rid of it quick.
And now you have to either go after Lagares or Steven Matz. I think they're putting Lagares on. They almost have to, right?
You can't pitch to Juan Lagares, who's hitting 380 something against Gio. So Steven Matz, the pitcher batting 8th, definitely comes into play here for the Mets and the Nats. Matz 4.63 double play ball first time, and now remember, this guy can swing the bat. Scoreless game, bases loaded, 2 outs.
Yeah, Matz can hit though. This isn't a layup for Gio. He got a pitch. Obviously, bases loaded, 2 outs.
Nice hook, strike 2, and a good block by Severino with a man 90 feet away.
Whoops. It's been an exciting 0-0 game, hasn't it?
It's like a scoreless soccer game, creating chances for both teams so far. Some solid defense. Frazier trying to draw a balk coming down the line.
Good block.
And Severino on a ball breaking right past the batter's back knee, blocks another one.
Watch him slide over, get his body in front, create the angle with his chest protector. Bases loaded, runner on third. It gives Gio confidence to throw it again if he wants.
Swing and a miss on another curveball. So Gio out of the inning after a walk, a double, and an intentional walk. And this thing is somehow still scoreless. 2 in a row. Visit geico.com to see how much you could save.
Teddy's in shape, man. He doesn't have a boiler working this year. You check out everybody kind of talking it over in the Nats dugout. That's Chip Hale saying the signs to Bob Henley. So he's used to getting the signs from Dave Martinez at third, and Chip Hale saying, okay, this is what we're going to use for bunt, hit and run, steal. Here we go.
Nats coming up with Harper, Zim, Kendrick. Understanding what's important, our M&T Bank do-up, bottom of the fourth, and what they've done career against the Mets. Harper struck out first time. Good take by Bryce to get ahead.
Yeah, everything's been to the glove side from Mats today. Into righties, away to lefties. Bryce is thinking left center right here. He's going to have a good at bat.
Looking for his first Nationals Park base hit. Fastball in there, 1-1.
Usually Bryce is in the middle of all the fireworks, and Anthony Rendon's the last guy you'd think, and he really didn't do a whole lot to get ejected, folks. I'm still scratching my head about that. Didn't say a word.
2 mild-mannered Nats thrown out on consecutive days.
And I'd say the same thing if it was Todd Frazier. He didn't say a word, and Todd Frazier shouldn't have got ejected if that's what happened. I'm not just saying it because it's a Nat. I've never seen a player get ejected without saying a word.
Harper reaching for it. Bouncing ball right side. He's digging hard. Cabrera throws him out. Fourth inning of Nationals baseball, brought to you by the all-wheel drive RAV4 Toyota. What drives you? Visit buyatoyota.com for great deals. Hats off to the tough fans who came to this one today, all bundled up around the ballpark. The day considering, good crowd. Ryan Zimmerman struck out swinging, ending the first inning. This one high in the air. Heading for foul ground, first base side. Now it comes twisting back. And Wilmer Flores, who's usually a middle infielder, sometimes third base, makes a pretty good play.
Yeah, I didn't see where Asdrubal Cabrera started on this, but he was there, and a lot of times the second baseman has a better angle at that. For the exact reason you just saw, a little back pedal by Wilmer right there, caught by his second base buddy. Yeah, Cabrera's playing straight up. Not an easy play.
Here's Howie trying to keep Mats from a very quick fourth inning. Out of play.
The other thing too, Carp, I'm thinking about, and I'll let it go in about 4 or 5 innings, is how does Marty Foster know what Anthony Rendon was mad at? He could have been mad at himself for not swinging at that pitch, for all Marty Foster knows, and for all we know for that matter. I don't think that was the case, but how do you know? He could have been, oh, I should have swung at that. I mean, you don't know.
Howie battling here on 0-2. Target in.
That's the pitch that's been being called all day right there.
Ooh. You're holding your breath on every one. Mercedes-Benz brings us the latest.
Watch Darno's glove. This is what's been tricking Marty Foster all day. You see how he just kind of turned it, the subtle turn with the wrist. He's been doing it on the low pitch. He's doing it on the inside pitch.
Howie Kendrick, a fly ball that's hanging up. Short gap. Lagares has it. And the Nats go in order. Last base hit was Severino's single in the second. No score.
Trying something new this year. He's keeping a notebook throughout the course of the season with kind of tips on opposing hitters as well as tips on his own starting pitchers to try and keep himself locked in. It's an idea that bullpen coach Henry Blanco gave him in spring, and he's been keeping it up since then. The idea to further reinforce scouting in fall while also jotting down what he sees during games, both when he's playing and not. So still trying to learn at this level, guys.
Yeah, a lot of information out there. He's got all the physical tools. There's no doubt about that. The energy, as FP alludes to often. Catcher's one guy who can energize the whole infield during a ball game. Rosario hit that screamer back to Gio first time. 2-2.
And even blocking balls like that with nobody on, that'll get you swell. On a normal day, that'll get you some calls when you walk in the batter's box.
Right down the middle. Rosario knew it, walks away, and Gio, strikeout number 4. Inside the numbers, presented by PNC. Make today the day. So Gio, 5th in the league, under 3 on the ERA. Opponent's batting average just over 215. Better with runners on. With runners in scoring position, almost impossible to get a hit against, and he didn't give up many extra base hits either. That's what that slugging percentage is all about. Cole Hamels, now in the American League, 9 career wins against the Metropolitans. Gio almost had a no-hitter in New York a couple of years ago. This is his 24th start against the Mets, and the ERA 2.93. Perfect pitch, outer edge.
His work rate's fantastic along with Steven Matz. I always thought on a hot day or a cold day, don't leave me standing on defense. Get me back in the dugout. And both pitchers done a great job here today, working quick, throwing strikes.
Well, he's got some kind of curveball going today. And right now, as Drubel wants to know why Marty Foster wouldn't at least appeal it down to Mark Ripperger, the home plate umpire called him out.
It's your other fans behind home plate saying throw him out. Oh, Nats fans get it.
That's hitters' big beef. We've talked about it. When the home plate umpire won't even go with the appeal. Here's Cespedes. Foul out to left. And a little chopper right in front of home plate on which Severino threw him out. Good heater, tailing to the outside edge. There's that inside edge.
Well, I mean, Gio knows there's a couple inches in there. It's just dangerous, especially to a guy like this.
Yeah. Elevate it some, huh?
Well, just get it in there. If you're going to miss into a power hitter, miss in off the plate. I mean, Gio's not afraid to get it in there, but there's a couple extra inches in there, as we've seen, to both sides, to right-handers.
2-2 here in the 5th. Swing and a miss on the changeup. Gio Gonzalez carving up the Mets in the 5th. Halfway through the ball game, his teammates would love to get him some runs the way he's pitching.
Pedro Severino with a base hit to center field. Juan Lagares got a good arm, but he's accurate too. He throws people out. So a strike to the plate. We'll show you some stat cast on this. The arm strength, the throw is 235 feet. Travis d'Arnaud with a good slide, and I think Dave Martinez wanted to take a look at this, and he tried to hold the game up, but the umpires kind of waved it along, and maybe that's what started everything. He might have been a little frustrated with what he was hearing from hitters coming back to the dugout, the fact that he couldn't challenge that, and the last call to Rendon thrown out of the game for not saying a word.
1-1 to Michael A. Taylor.
I don't know that there's ever been more action in a 0-0 game here at Nats Park.
Curveball stays outside. Change up 83 to that inside edge.
Watch d'Arnaud's glove on the replay of this changeup. Just watch Travis d'Arnaud. This is what he's been doing all day with the inside pitch. You see that little twist, the little flip, very subtle.
You said this a couple of years ago. He's one of the best at that.
Yeah, we used to talk about Jose Lobaton all the time back there. He's a master of illusion, you know, presenting balls as strikes, borderline pitches as, you know, in the zone, and Travis d'Arnaud's been doing that with a low curveball from Mats today and the inside fastball and changeup, framing it up, getting the calls.
Taylor has to reach out for that one. Backhand Frazier. High throw. It stays on the field of play, and Michael A. Taylor will be safe at first, and it looks like Todd Frazier's second error of the year. Speed put some pressure on him.
But he just launched that. He tried to baby it over there. Michael A. had a little adventure going over the bag. I hope he's okay. Check out the throw. He just gooses this. And then Michael A. kind of hit the bag hard with his left leg, a little hobble after he hit it. Let's watch it in Exmo again. You can see everybody in the dugout knew it was high as soon as Frazier threw it.
Ooh.
He came down weird on that bag, and Paul Lessard, head trainer, is out talking to Michael Taylor right now.
That first base bag has been, not that particular bag, but first base bags have been unkind to home players in this ballpark over the last year. Michael A. was ducking with the first baseman airborne. So it is Frazier's second error, and here's Goodwin ahead of Severino.
See if Taylor gets a read on Mats here anytime soon.
Michael A 3 for 3.
Taylor's got a huge lead. Huge. His back foot is almost at the cut.
That is large. Bunt, not a good one, but Taylor's so fast it got him to second. Brian Goodwin wanted that ball further away from the catcher, but Darno took the sure out. Sacrifice good.
I think this is more for a base hit, especially with 8 coming up and 9 on deck. Almost threw that one away too.
Yeah, 2-3. Flores had to go backstop. So here's Severino, and the way he's going right now, bottom of the order. Who would you rather have in the batter's box right now than this guy? Base hit first time. He's driven in a run early.
See, Mats wants to talk to Darno. Is that a trip?
He didn't leave the dirt.
No, it's a trip.
It is a trip.
That's a trip. He charged him. So now he's going out. He wants another one. He'll charge him with another one here. Hey, if you get thrown out for not saying a word, if you take a step in front of home plate, it's got to be a trip.
First pitch in there.
I think Darno wanted to go out and discuss how they wanted to approach Severino with Gio on deck.
They haven't taken the Mets 6 down to 5 on the scoreboard, at least.
Marty Foster put a finger in the air.
Taylor going to third. Beat that by a wide margin. Now he just has to make sure he stays on the bag. And Michael A is 4 for 4 this season.
The old have the trainer come out of the dugout, check your ankle, steal third trick works every time.
Yeah, I thought he was done for the day.
And they're checking this to see if he held the bag while Todd Frazier had the tag on him still. I saw all the Mets coaches run down to the phone, so we'll take a look at it together. Did he stay on the base the whole time, and was Todd Frazier's glove on him?
I think it's time to move along.
And they are.
Severino infield in. It's 0-2 though, and that fastball is inside.
They got me flinching on that pitch up here now.
I know, I flipped my headset after that one.
Well, then I'll do the play-by-play.
1-2, and Pedro does a good job of staying with the breaking ball.
Mets infield in. Mickey Callaway bringing it in with 2 strikes. Runs at a premium here today, and Pedro trying to get the ball in the air deep enough to score Michael A. It's not going to take a lot, but pretty good arms out there, especially in center and left.
Way inside, 2-2. Saw a shot of Mickey Callaway there. First time there have been 3 new managers in the same division since the NL West in '93. Don Baylor took over the Rockies, Tony Perez took over the Reds, and Dusty took over the Giants. Severino stays alive.
This is where it's tough for a young player to hit 8th. Mats is going to try to make Severino chase something here. And Pedro wants to drive in that run because he knows 1 run could mean a lot here today. I think you expand your zone here with 2 strikes if you're hitting 8th. There's your sac fly zone. Red, no bueno. Yellow, we'll see. Green, you're safe.
2-2. Good take. On the breaking ball, Darno kept it close enough.
Michael A had 2 hard steps coming home here, and you see Severino with the in-between side. What, he give him the stop sign first, watch Severino, and then said, come on. That's why you don't look at the hitter and you just judge yourself.
Full count. Severino to right. Ball's got a chance to fall. It does. Taylor scores. Nationals lead 1-0. And Pedro Severino is turning into a revelation in the number 8 spot.
Well, it's what we're talking about, expanding the zone in certain situations. There's times when you take your walk hitting 8th. You say, if you ain't pitching to me, I ain't hitting. But there's also times in maybe a scoreless game like right now where runs are at a premium that you expand your zone, and that's what Pedro Severino did right there. Just reached out and touched a curveball, served it into right. Steven Matz is frustrated. Stay hot, Pedro Severino. Manager's got to love what he's seen out of this kid, right?
And here's Gio, who gashed it first time. Could be bunting. Trying to get Severino at second base for Trey Turner. So a good fundamental inning by the Nats, taking advantage of Todd Frazier's throwing error. Oh, and 2. How do you let Gio swing away here? At the worst, Turner would lead off in the 6th. Or is he still bunting with 2 outs and 2 strikes? Todd Frazier on the grass. Pardon me, 1 out right now. And he does bunt into the strikeout. At Sandy Spring Bank, they help people and businesses reach their goals every day. Sandy Spring Bank, from here, for 150 years. And put these next 5 in the bank. Tanner Roark against the Mets and Matt Harvey tomorrow night. Max goes Tuesday, Monday, Strasburg Tuesday, and then A.J. Cole will pitch on Wednesday against Atlanta. Trey, a bunt hit, 1 for 2. And there goes Severino, and he is safe at second base. Nationals are 4 for 4 today.
Yeah, Darno's always had trouble throwing, and the Nats taking advantage of it here. Got a good read on Matz, just maybe a first move. Like, what's the worst thing that could happen here if you get picked off? Trey Turner's leading off the next inning, so nice gamble by Chip Hale and maybe Dave Martinez in the tunnel.
2 taps on the wall with the bat as a steal sign from upstairs.
No, I mean, I like that. Chip Hale's managed in the big leagues.
He has. He's
managed for
good.
the Diamondbacks, and that's why he's the bench coach. He knows what he's doing.
So another run in scoring position. High and tight to Trey. 3-1. Hansel Robles getting ready for the Mets. Mets was cruising 66 pitches, 42 strikes into this inning. And the error by his third baseman got things out of whack. Followed by some really good at-bats.
All right, in case you missed it, a lot of fireworks here. Maybe the most exciting 1-0 game you'll ever see. Anthony Rendon last at bat to end the 3rd inning. Just flipped his bat, didn't say a word, and Marty Foster said, "Get out of here," if you can read his lips. And then the new skipper, Dave Martinez, has the back of his all-star, well, maybe all-star third baseman. I'm telling you, that goes so far in the clubhouse, reiterating what I said earlier. The passion that the manager just showed, and not leaving one of his best players hanging out there after an unbelievable ejection. You know, you feel for Marty Foster in a sense that's embarrassing. Did you throw a major league player out of a game for not saying? He didn't say a word. That's all he did was flip a bat. And how does Marty Foster know why he flipped his bat? Could have been he was frustrated, didn't swing at it, or he didn't like the pitch. But how does he know?
So here's the former Met, Matt Reynolds, who at 228, 115 games in 2 years with New York. Nats got him in a cash deal February 12th. Curveball in there from a former teammate, 0-2. We saw Matt hit a couple of spring training home runs in our Masson games from West Palm. 4 big league homers, 18 RBIs. Second rounder back in 12 out of the University of Arkansas. Had a good spring. 27 years of age, 6'1", 198. There it is. Been a strike all day, and the Nats are gone in the 5th. They pick up an unearned run. Digging it. The Nats are on top.
Check out Fios by Verizon Exmo. You see a nasty changeup fading away to Todd Frazier. Made him aware of the fastball in. You saw his shoulder leak. Went to the changeup for strike 3, and then he locks up Ahmed Rosario right there. And the comebacker, he squared it up. Check out the knuckleball. Way to charge it, Gio. Nicely done. From TVs to tablets, everything is amazing on the 100% fiber optic network. Visit getfios.com today.
80 pitches, 46 strikes for our left-hander. 3, 4, 5. Flores, Frazier, Darno, top 6. Walk and a fly ball to center for Flores. There's that curveball. He's been bringing it around to get that outside edge. So the Mets box score, a couple of walks, Flores and Frazier. Cabrera first inning hit. Lagares hit second inning, wiped out on a double play. And Jay Bruce the double last, or 2 innings ago, and Gio got out of that bases loaded jam, striking out Mats after intentionally walking Juan Lagares. Matt Grace for the Nats. So Gio will be up in the 90 or 90 plus pitch range after 6. That 4th inning cost him 23 pitches. But still pitching brilliantly against New York, as he has most of his career. Two-hopper, left side, Matt Reynolds. Weatherman Dan Kolkel with an update.
Bob. The temperature is here well documented, and we see Trey Turner all layered up. He's a Florida boy. He's not used to these temps. I talked to him before the game. He said when he played fall ball when he was at NC State, they had some scrimmages where the result was meaningless. He would wear batting gloves on both hands in the field, including his throwing hand. He won't be doing that up here where the result does matter. I told him his coldest game, or the coldest game the Nats played last year in Colorado, he had a cycle. He said, that's not helping me any today.
Anything's possible in Colorado. Braves are there this weekend before they come here Monday, and they beat the Rockies in game 1 out there. So Atlanta's 5-2, the Mets are 5-1, and the Nats right behind at 4-3. Todd Frazier, strikeout and a walk. Severino took a little hop outside. That's where the pitch went, and Harper watching it. It stays in the yard right in front of the Nats bullpen as Todd Frazier made a bid for his first Mets home run. He's at second, 1 out.
Yeah, we talk about how Nats Park plays differently with the weather conditions. In June or July, that's in the bullpen. And I've never seen a ballpark change so much with the weather, but in April, this is a double. In June, it's a homer, so good for Gio Gonzalez that stayed in the yard, and now he's got to go to work. Third double of the year for Frazier.
Next up, Darno, who has struck out and hit a fly ball to center. He's going to tie the game with a base hit to left center. First pitch hacking, Travis d'Arnaud drives in his 3rd run, and it's 1-1.
Yeah, check out the pitch. Looked like a fastball right down the middle, off the end. And an easy read for Todd Frazier on second base. He knew it was a knock right out of the gate. And a quick answer here by the Mets.
So Derek Lilliquist and the infield gathered around. Jay Bruce is next, and then Juan Lagares. Mets have out hit the Nats 5-3. Mets with that 5-1 record I mentioned, they're only 8th in the league in runs scored at 31. That's how good their pitching has been. But they have a high batting average, 3rd best in the league. And Jay Bruce doubled on a rocket past Ryan Zimmerman last time up. Nats in a shift on that left side, and close, but 2-0.
That's a good trip by Derek Lilliquist, trying to calm Gio down a little bit. As you know, it can unravel quick for Gio. You've seen him in the past, so try to settle him down. What do you want to do here? Let's get a ground ball and get out of here.
That one to right. Here comes Bryce, but he's got to play it on a hop. He's playing Bruce pretty deep, and the Mets have put 3 hits together here. This is interesting. Lagares coming up. It'll be a lefty-righty matchup, whatever Chip Hale does here, but Lagares in his career has hit really well against Gio. That'll do it. 5 1/3 for Gonzalez today. Half of their hits in this inning. Gio strikes out 6, walks 3, 1 intentional. And if you need expert printing, the UPS store has you covered. Together, there's nothing we can't solve. It's our UPS store called to the bullpen. Nats led 1-0. Mets have tied it. And now the tie's in jeopardy as Matt Grace enters to face Juan Lagares. 5th game already. 5 innings, couple of hits.
A two-seam fastball averaging 90.4 miles an hour this year. Slider changed to go with it. Throwing the fastball 69% of the time. He's trying to get a ground ball right here, right now.
Second base Darno, first base Bruce. And Juan Lagares 2 for 2 career against Matt Grace until that swing. Ryan Zimmerman for the second out. Next up, at least it was scheduled to be Steven Matz. It'll be right-handed batting switch hitter Jose Reyes. Sean Kelly's up. Reyes 1 for 1 against Matt Grace. So Matt gives up 1 unearned run on 3 hits through 5.
Careful right here, he's swinging.
There's still some pop in that bat at the age of 34. Way upstairs, 3-0.
Yeah, last year Reyes hit 267 against left-handers. Mercedes-Benz will show you the sinker right there. Good frame by Pedro Severino to get the call.
Been a strike all day. 3-2.
Gives Travis d'Arnaud a head start at second base. Pretty good runner either way, though.
To short for Trey Turner. Runner jumping right over the ball there. Zimmerman, the low catch, and a good job by Matt Grace. He gets a couple of outs. Mets tie it, and Bryce leads off bottom 6. about the Potomac Nationals at the Fitz? April 9th through 11th, Peanuts take on the Down East Wood Ducks. $1 grandstand tickets on Dollar Monday, $2 on $2 Tuesday, and a special 10:35 a.m. start for Middle School Day Wednesday. Give them a call, log on, PotomacNationals.com. Hansel Robles, he pitched here on Thursday. Gave up a hit in the 8th inning, a double to Anthony Rendon, but got a scoreless frame on strikeouts to Goodwin, Harper, and Zimmerman. He faces Bryce here again in a 1-1 game, bottom 6. So Bryce 1 for 4 career against him.
Last time you see Bryce face a right-hander in a tie game this late.
Out of play, left side, 0-2. Nats box. Bunt hit, Trey Turner with a steal attached in the first. Severino, what new for him? 2 for 2 with an RBI, and he has swiped a base out of the number 8 spot.
Yeah, heads up for the quick pitch here from Robles. He'll get you looking down and throw it, especially with 2 strikes. Bryce is ready.
Target away. Ooh, Bryce fighting one off.
Dangerous area to throw Bryce Harper. He can get on top of that high fastball. That had a lot of plate.
Two. So home run leaders since Bryce's first year when he got called up, 2012 National League. Jay Bruce in there. Bryce was called up at the end of April when the Nats were at Dodger Stadium. Target away again. Harper, left center. This ball's got some altitude. See you later. Opposite field bullpen. 2-1 Nats on his 5th of the year.
I mean, when he's thinking left center, that's when he's locked in, and you see the enthusiasm in the dugout. The 2-2 homer off the bat of Bryce Harper, right when we were talking about it. On cue, Bryce Harper puts his ball club ahead 2-1.
Great job of hitting it where they were pitching him. Here's Ryan Zimmerman, ball 1.
I mean, he didn't even swing, and that's how strong this guy is. And when he realizes he doesn't have to swing hard to hit home runs, he just touched that ball. He just reached out, dropped barrel on baseball and fastball away and hit it into the Mets bullpen to put his club ahead. That was a smooth swing by Bryce Harper.
Major league leading 5th home run. RBI total now 10. Tied with Freddie Freeman, 2nd in the National League behind Gregory Polanco of the Pirates.
I mean, there's a lot of things you think about with Bryce Harper. I mean, one of the most talented guys in the big leagues, arguably the best player in the big leagues. Great arm, plays right field, as good as anybody. He can hit, he can run, but smooth swings, the last thing you think about. It's usually a violent swing, right? When you think about Bryce, I mean, he lets it rip.
Yeah.
That was a smooth swing. That was almost a Daniel Murphy 2-strike approach right there, and he touched it out of the ballpark. And usually it's all elbows and he lets it rip. Watch how smooth this is. He just smooths that ball out to left. Rolls the wrist. Look at the perfect balance after the swing. And if he could hit home runs to left center field, sky's the limit, folks. That's a beautiful swing.
Yeah, and well beyond the wall.
It's like a first round of BP swing when you're getting loose.
Zimmerman gashes one the other way, and Jay Bruce ends up sliding for that ball, which I think kind of took off on him at the very end. So the Nats have hit 2 balls off the sweet spot against Robles.
There's a swing, watch the balance. When he's head still, that's when he's locked. And just, it's smooth. That's as smooth as you'll ever see a Bryce Harper swing. See the back knee going toward the ground, the elevation to left, he knew it. That's not really him. It's just it's a Godzilla-sized Bryce Harper in center field.
Career homer number 155 for Bryce. Howie Kendrick against Hansel Robles' career. 1 for 2 with a home run. So the Nats have hit 13 homers, most in the league. 1 more than St. Louis and Colorado.
That at bat by Ryan too could be the calm before the storm.
Deep short, tough play for the young shortstop, and Howie's going to beat that out easily. And the Nats have 2 hits in an inning for the first time today. Howie Kendrick, 9th hit in 26 at bats.
All right, let's computerize the Harper home run and give you all kinds of launch angles and launch codes. There it is, 107.7. The exit velocity hit at 405 feet. Nobody in the Mets bullpen budged.
So Brandon Kintzler now up for the top of the 7th, when the Mets will have Rosario, Cabrera, and Cespedes.
And Bryce is talking about driving the ball to left center. We talked his last at bat off Mets. If he's thinking left center, he's thinking right. You see those swings he's taken with hitting coach Kevin Long that before you saw what we just showed you, he was talking about his front shoulder leaking. And right there, he's talking about staying through it, driving the ball the other way. It's exactly what just happened, and you saw the results.
Good take.
The pull stuff will take care of itself. Bryce is so quick inside. If he's thinking the other way and you try to sneak a fastball in, he'll just turn on it naturally. But when he's thinking left center, he keeps his front side closed. The big part of the ballpark, I mean, he could hit home runs to left like a right-handed hitter. So there's no real reason to think pull unless the team's just constantly busting you inside. Then you got to get him out of there.
And Michael A. with another good look. 2-1. Mets bullpen busy with Paul Sewald. Absolutely scorched and foul. Into the 3 o'clock hour here at Nationals Park. Bottom of the 6th. Been a little bit crazy so far. A 1-1 tie. Lots of action. Anthony Rendon. Davey Martinez tossed at the end of the 3rd inning on a called 3rd strike. Pardon me, 2-1 Nationals. On the strength of the Harper homer this inning. And Michael A. Taylor trying to extend that here.
How many times over the last, whatever, 8 years have we had a guy hit a homer and then the guy who hit it stand next to his hitting coach. It always happens, doesn't it? He saw the pat on the backside there. That's something they worked on today before the game, I guarantee it.
Taylor high in the air. Cespedes and Lagares, and the center fielder has the call. 2 outs. Goodwin, the lefty, is next. There's Brian Goodwin, who has walked, stolen a base, been thrown out at home on a great throw by Lagares, and executed a sacrifice bunt. Big time rip, 0-2.
Roble's pretty quick to the plate. See if Howie's thinking about a little ambush steal here with 2 outs and 2 strikes. 4 steals already on the day. They've been running crazy on Darno.
And the swing and a miss on a pitch away. Bryce Harper is off to one of his best starts ever. It's the Nationals' 8th game of the year. That swing is his 5th home run. He's driven in 10, and he's given his team the lead after 6. That's Bryce out there, all bundled up. Then we're going to the top of the 7th inning, 2-1 Nats, and now, whenever you have the lead at this stage of a ball game, Davey Martinez, or in today's case Chip Hale, has the Kinsler, Madsen, Doolittle firm lined up for the last 9 outs. Brandon pitched the 7th inning and got roughed up by the Mets on Thursday. Gave up the Jay Bruce grand slam after a double and 2 walks. So looking for a little payback here as he takes on Ahmed Rosario starting off the 7th.
Yeah, it wasn't so much the home run by Bruce. It was the walks that were uncharacteristic for Brandon, but he's right back out there. Fastball, slider, change. 2-seam fastball, lots of run to it, averaging 93.4 miles an hour this year. Yeah, once he missed with that 2-2 front hipper to Jay Bruce, Bruce knew it was coming 3-2, bases loaded.
Yeah. Reynolds even with a bag at 3rd. Zimmerman in the baseline, but well off the first base bag. And a strike to get ahead here in the 7th. By the way, Matt Grace 7 pitches, 4 strikes. Did get a couple of badly needed outs with runners at second and third. Right up the middle. Good job by the kid of getting his hands inside of that one. He's hit 2 line drives today. 1 for 3 with the top of the order coming up. Asdrubal Cabrera is next. A couple of catchers there, Wieters and Solano commiserating.
See how Mickey Callaway plays this. He had a long look at Glenn Sherlock at third. Do you think they bunt here?
Well, if they would bunt a runner aboard, then Nats would have the option of walking Cespedes. That'll be interesting here.
I don't remember the Mets bunting a whole lot in the past, but that was Terry Collins. So we'll see how Mickey Callaway plays this. I say no.
Mets coming in 6 games, 2 sacrifice bunts, both by pitchers.
See our friend at first base, Ruben Amaro Jr., the old GM for the Phillies, was the first base coach for the Mets.
Yeah, from the front office to the first base coaching box. In there, 1-1. His specialty keeping the ball down. That ball is ripped into the right field corner. Rosario had a big takeoff from first. Throw is late, and the Mets, just like that, tie the game. As Cabrera drives in his 2nd run of the year on his 2nd hit today.
Another answer by the Mets. The Nats scored the bottom of the 5th. The Mets answer the top of the 6th. The Nats just scored the Bryce Harper home run. Leadoff single by Rosario, and Cabrera hits one down the corner. They did everything right on the relay. Rosario just too fast. Bryce got to it, got rid of it quick. Perfect throw to Howie Kendrick, who makes a nice one-hop throw to Pedro Severino, but Rosario was boogieing around the bases. He can really fly. And just like that, we're all tied up again. This has been one heck of a ball game from the ballpark. Wow. 3rd double of the year for Asdrubal.
First base open, Cespedes the hitter in a tie game. 2-8-1 Mets, 2-5-1 Nats.
It's early in the year, but you're seeing balls elevated off Brandon Kinsler that you didn't see last year. It was hard to hit the ball in the air off him from what we saw last year.
Runner retreats. Turner to his left. And their runner going to third, and Ryan Zimmerman no throw. So Cabrera stayed patient, and then on the throw over, he went to third with 1 out.
Well, great play by Trey Turner, first of all, going far to his left. The spin move, the throw right on the money. But, you know, Asdrubal Cabrera today has shown his veteran savvy on the base pass. You remember in the 1st inning, he let off with a single and didn't really slow down around first, took 2nd on the bobble and left. And there, knew that Trey Turner was going up the middle, and there's no way he could spin and get him at third. So, good read by Cabrera to get to third base with just 1 out.
Michael Conforto for Wilmer Flores, and the Nats are going to walk him. That'll set up a Kinsler-Frazier matchup.
Got Chip Hale hoping for that same ground ball. You just saw off the bat a Cespedes maybe right at somebody playing for the double play, obviously.
Frazier career against Kinsler. Saw a lot of each other in the American League.
That's where he wants to stay, right down and in with that two-seam fastball, that boring fastball on your hands. That's tough to elevate. The most you can do with that is pound into the ground foul or hit a ground ball to Matt Reynolds at third.
Kinsler got him the other day on a fly ball to left. Frazier 2 for 12 career against Brandon. That pitch was up, and that was a rip. A.J. Ramos, former Marlins closer, did a little closing for the Mets last year.
The punch out might be with the slider away. The ground ball is a two-seamer in. It looks like they're going slider away. We'll see.
That was a fastball away. Howie right at the bag, boots it. That runner's safe. Runner's out at first, and the Mets lead 3-2. So Conforto had a head start, and that got him to second base.
Yeah, a lot going on this play. I don't think they had the double play if Howie fields is clean. You see the ball hit the rubber. That was the difference. He had to field it in front of the bag, so give Mickey Callaway credit for starting the runner right there and staying out of the double play to put his ball club ahead 3-2. And Todd Frazier for putting it in play on a tough pitch. Almost like a hit and run with 2 strikes the way Frazier expanded the zone right there. Maybe he thought, hey, if I just put that in play, I got myself an RBI and our team's ahead.
Here's Travis d'Arnaud. Well, the Mets have done a good job in this series of taking advantage of their opportunities.
Big out right here to keep it just 3-2.
And a 1-2 pitch. Got it. Down and away. Ball in the dirt. Severino will toss to Zimmerman. That's it for the Mets in the top of the 7th. Pedro Severino, perfect day. 2 hits, an RBI, and a steal.
the only place where stealing is legal. I mean, right? Where else can you steal and it's a positive and you're not arrested in baseball? 4 times today the Nats have stolen bases. And how about Pedro Severino getting there for the 4th steal of the day? So get on, steal a few bags. You're right. Back in this one, 3-2, bottom of the 7th. And here is A.J. Ramos.
31-year-old right-hander. And for the Mets this year, 4th appearance. Has 99 career saves. Had 7 of those when Jeurys Familia was injured last year. Adrian Gonzalez, who's a really good first baseman still at this stage of his career, takes over there. Pedro Severino, and there's a very interesting leadoff hitter, pardon me, on deck hitter in this inning that has to be kind of a relief to all of us to see Adam Eaton out there. Robles to Severino. Drops in the curveball. Pedro has never hit against this right-hander before. Broke his bat, but it's going to carry out to Lagares for the first out.
Well, if you missed the home opener, Adam Eaton on a Anthony Rendon double. Tony's what his teammates call him. Scored all the way from first base, and there was an awkward moment when he slid. I think he caught his spike there. You saw the left foot. And right before that, the left foot kind of caught where the grass and the dirt meet. And apparently he broke down some scar tissue, felt it, came out of the game. But here he is. And he is looking to run into one right here, right now.
He's run into 2 of them already. Adam Eaton, 0 for 1 career against A.J. Ramos. Ryan Madson next. Kinsler, Madson, and Doolittle did pitch the 7th, 8th, and 9th to get some work on Thursday. Up in the zone, 2-1. And a pop-up short right as Juba Cabrera for the 2nd out. With more on Adam, here's Dan.
Bob, Adam Eaton actually called that injury on Thursday a blessing in disguise. He said that breaking up that scar tissue in his left ankle, that was also injured on that play at first base last April, actually has allowed him to feel some extra mobility in there, which has taken some strain off of that knee. Been easier getting up and down stairs last night and into today, so he actually feels better coming out of that play on Thursday than he did prior to it.
Wow. We feared the worst when we heard he was injured after that game. 2 days later, back in as a pinch hitter, and as FP said earlier, expected to be in the lineup tomorrow night.
Yeah, when you break down that scar tissue or it pops, it's a scary feeling. It hurts, and you're like, oh no.
Turner, first career at bat against Ramos. Who used to be a little bit crazy as a closer. 99 career saves, but he blew 20 over his years with Miami and the 1 year with the Mets. Never quite knew what was coming from him, but he had so much crazy stuff. He could make hitters look fooled at times, and he pitches a 1-2-3, bottom of the 7th. Madson on the way, 3-2 Mets. in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Washington Nationals. Cold day, tourists, players, broadcasters, and we're glad to be with you. Kind of a crazy game, 3-2 Mets. A couple of heavyweight teams trading some punches here.
Yeah, a lot of action. Even if it was 0-0, Anthony Rendon getting thrown out, didn't do a thing. One of the weirdest ejections I've ever seen. And you would think that somebody has to answer to that. I mean, you can't just go throwing out star players for no reason when you don't know why they flipped their bat. And if we're going to get into body language getting you ejected, that's a slippery slope for all umpires and all players. What do I have to do to stay in a game? And in a one-run game, I mean, it could loom large.
Kind of unusual that Kinsler and Matson now have appeared in back-to-back games while the Nationals were behind, but they didn't work at all in the Atlanta series, and Davey Martinez wanted to get them some work Thursday. They did. Now here they are trying to hold a close game and keep it 3-2. Jay Bruce and a 1-1 from Matson, threw it right by him. Jay Bruce 2 for 5 career against Ryan with 3 runs batted in. Shift on, Howie's in right field, and Bruce gets a piece of it. Right-hander Jacob Rame. Fastball, inner edge, 95, 1 out.
Man, started it off the plate in, ran it back, 95 miles an hour. Look at the movement on that late. That's just dirty. I think even Jay Bruce would tell you that right now. Look at that late movement back toward the plate at 95 miles an hour.
At 37 years of age, Ryan Matson is doing some incredible things. One pitch, Zimmerman to his right to spear the Juan Lagares drive. 2 quick outs here in the 8th.
And nice play, ready for action. Looked like he was in on the grass, a step and a dive, not a problem.
Here's Brandon Nimmo to bat in the pitcher's spot. So when the Mets made that switch, bringing Adrian Gonzalez into the game, that was straight up for the pinch hitter at that time, Conforto. Nimmo's been making some good contact for the Mets. Had a pinch hit double here on Thursday. Had a good spring.
I think they go back to that front hit fastball they just threw Jay Bruce. It plays here, especially after that swing on the curveball. You can set it up with one pitch, or you can go right to it. A little fastball up and in. Oh. A little bit inside. Ryan had a couple steps toward his own dugout. He thought it was strike 3. What do I throw here? Almost looked like he was thinking that, right?
Here's a 2-2. No inside strike zone to lefties today. Crowd letting Marty Foster hear it.
Same pitch, right? Right on top of pitch number 3.
Inside for the 2-out walk.
There was 3 pitches in that sequence where Ryan Matson took 2 steps toward his own dugout, this one included. He thought that was strike 3. Marty Foster disagreed and will reset with Rosario.
Brandon Nimmo out to a pretty good lead and the throw over. Rosario has hit the ball hard twice. Up the middle both times. Gio speared one, the other a hit. Nimmo running. Severino's throw just a little too late for Howie to get the runner on the helmet or the shoulder. And Brandon Nimmo's at second base with 2 down.
Well, you see Nimmo look in there. That cost him a few steps, even though he stole it. Do you look at that again? Did he come off the base when Howie tagged him on the backside? Right around his name? I know there's somebody on the phone down there. Tim Bogar's on the horn. So he beat it initially, but the tag, Howie stayed with it nice. And did his foot come off the bag while he kept it on his name on the back? They're going to look at it. Why not?
Nats will challenge the stolen base.
Right? Watch this. There. When he hit him on the helmet, was he on the base? Awkward slide. That whole thing looked awkward. I can't tell from this angle, but watch where he tags him on the helmet. Was he on the base? We got all kinds of angles for you. Look at this. Boom. Oh, yeah. See? He got him on the helmet, and he wasn't on the base.
Some of our fans just saw the replay on the board.
I mean, right here, this is the one. If you can slow it down, watch this. Not there, but right here. He's not on the base, he's out. That looked like a slide on a cold day, didn't it?
Everything's looking cold.
Watch this, right there. He's hitting him on the back of the helmet. There's nothing on the base. Go like 1 click ahead. No, you had it. Yeah, go back a little bit.
Joe West made the call.
Yeah, right there is where he's tagging him. But he keeps it on him. As his foot pops off.
Joe on the left. Doug Eddings, the third base coach with him, or rather the umpire with him, and here it comes. Runner is safe. It wasn't conclusive enough to overturn the steal. First pitch was a strike to Rosario. And a tapper up the middle. Trey's got to come quickly. Quick runner. Got him by a half step. Inning over. Reynolds, Harper, Zimmerman. Good job by Manson.
today after not saying a word to home plate ump Marty Foster reminded me of something that happened a couple of years ago. Our fantastic crew in the truck digging this up. This is from June 15, 2016. Anthony Rendon also ejected after not saying a word to a home plate umpire. A little gesture there to Bob Davidson, and he's tossed. So Anthony Rendon, twice now in 3 seasons, ejected after not saying a word to a home plate umpire. FP happened again today.
I don't know, maybe he's just giving him a look that is swearing. I don't know. I can't tell you. I've never seen that before in my life. Even that, what he did with Bob Davidson back there as an umpire, didn't elicit an ejection. Today was just, I think, one of the biggest head scratchers I've ever seen for a guy getting thrown out of a game.
Matt Reynolds against 25-year-old Jacob Rame. One and one. Well, Mets pitching in this series. 16 innings. The Nats have 4 runs on 11 hits. Trying to make some noise against the bullpen here. And Reynolds mindful of that inside strike zone, swinging at that one. Marty Foster offended. Three and two.
A pretty good fastball at 95 on average. Slider change to go with it. Jerry Blevins locked and loaded for Bryce Harper.
To his right has Juba Cabrera. First out, 8th inning. So Rame will face one batter. Good situational appearance for him. Bryce Harper, home run last time up, 1 for 3 today, and against Jerry Blevins' career, 2 for 10 with a homer, 2 RBIs, 3 walks. That's the matchup that awaits us here in DC.
We'll go back to the 6th inning. Bryce Harper with his 5th tater of the year. Smoothed one out to left center field. The balance after the swing. He almost went Pedro Serrano and carried the bat around the bases too. Set it down right before he got the first base. Heard your local Ford dealers for great savings on cars, trucks, and SUVs. If he uses that same approach toward Jerry Blevins in the fastball curveball combination right here, it'll suit him well, because Blevins will throw that curveball, kind of start it behind you, and then he'll start one over the plate that he runs away from you, and he usually stays away with the fastball. So if you're thinking left center, you got a good chance.
Big, slow curve for a strike.
Didn't like that call at all. He turned towards his dugout. He was talking to himself. He thought it was away.
Will he even see a fastball? 1-1.
I mean, he may show him a fastball to keep him from diving out there and hitting one to left center again, just to keep him honest. I just think there's going to be a lot of curveballs here. Going out there again. Oh, Darno thought that was a strike. It double took. Did you see that? Little double pump right there. He thought that was good. Watch Darno. Watch PitchCast.
Great pitch. Ball 2. So he's seen the Blevins heater. Pitcher behind. 2-1. Front door curve stays in. Ball 3.
You know, Bryce did like the first call, and he turned toward his own dugout and said something, and maybe the way he handled that bought him that borderline pitch. There was a day when he would snap his head right back toward the umpire and complain. He didn't on that first one.
Mets have a right-hander ready for Zimmerman. 3-1 to Bryce here. And he walks in with 1 out, tying runs on base. Good plate discipline by Bryce Harper, his 11th walk of the year. And that's it for Blevins. Jeurys Familia, 3 saves this year without blowing one. This would be a 5-out save. Maryland. There's no end to the fun you'll have in Ocean City. Plan your trip today at OCOcean.com. Quite a ball game. 3-2 Mets, bottom 8. Nats have the tying run on board. And New York has employed its closer here pretty early. Bit more on that in a moment.
You know what scored from first on a single? A Greyhound. Pups in the Park presented by Budweiser returned 6 times this year. Don't miss the first chance to bring your canine companion to the ballpark. You might want to bring a husky tomorrow because it's going to be a little chilly. Proceeds benefit the Humane Rescue Alliance. You know those little tiny dogs with no fur you can sit in your lap, the huskies?
Tomorrow's a 3-dog night.
Visit nationals.com for details.
Juris Familia, 3 for 3 in saves this year. 4 appearances and a 0 ERA. 2 hits, no runs in 4 1/3. Ryan Zimmerman 1 for 7 career against him with an RBI. Bryce had a pretty good lead and draws the throw over.
Yeah, fastball slider split from Familia. The split averaging 90 this year. There was a time when it was 95, 97. Fastball is averaging 95, 96 miles an hour.
Ryan Zimmerman 0 for 3 today.
If you're Bryce, you might be looking for that split in the dirt.
Holding, ball 1.
That's with the slider. Do you come with the heat now? Big lead for Harper at first.
Ryan looking for his first base hit at home here. Among hitters in their own ballparks, you would expect a Rocky to be at the top of the list, and then JD Martinez, who had the amazing second half with Arizona. Harper holding. Darno held it for a while. 2-0.
96. Way high. I'll tell you what, with the Mets outfield playing no doubles right now, if Ryan hits anything through the right side, it's an easy first to third for Bryce. Maybe even to center too. I mean, they are way back.
There he goes. Low and away. Harper in there. Ball dropped. And the Nats are 5 for 5 today. And for Bryce Harper, his first bag of the season.
Well, he's been wanting to go the whole at bat. You see him going straight steal right there. He beats it easily. Darno with a one hopper that Cabrera can't handle. So now the tying run in scoring position. And a 3-1 count for Ryan Zimmerman. And that'll bring the Mets outfield in a little bit to try to throw out Bryce at the plate.
Ryan 1 homer, 3 RBIs so far. Fastball whistles in at 96 to fill the count. Zimmerman trying to make Sean Doolittle's job a whole lot different in the top of the 9th than it shapes up as right now. Chopper, nowhere for Bryce to go. 2 outs. 8th inning up to Howie Kendrick. Mets have held Ryan 0 for 8 in this series. Howie base hit last time to deep short.
You see all that late movement from the Familia fastball. I don't know if that was a fastball or split. Sometimes it's hard to tell. You look at the velocity, that was mid-90s, but you're looking for something that starts above your belt against this guy because he has such late movement down with all of his pitches.
Howie career 2 for 4 against Familia with an RBI and a base on balls. So through the middle of the order for the Nats here in the 8th. Heard a loud grunt. He kind of overthrew that one, and a pretty good pick by Travis d'Arnaud.
And Lagares real shallow in center. Cespedes shallow in left. Bryce is working real hard on his secondary lead and get a good jump here. He's going to have to boogie on a base hit.
Right side, and it's right to Asdrubal Cabrera. The Nats. 5 hits all day. 1 inning to go. The Mets by 1. Washington area Toyota dealers helping children and their families every time the Nats rack up a strikeout. $44 to the Children's Inn at the National Institutes of Health. Sean Doolittle, 9th inning here on Thursday. A base hit to Cabrera. He struck out Conforto and Cespedes. And he'll face some of the same guys here in a hold'em situation today.
Yeah, so far this year for Sean, his fastball's averaging 95. He's thrown it 88% of the time.
Asdrubal Cabrera, good day, 2 for 4. Double, RBI, run scored. He's also 2 for 4 career against Sean. He had the big hit in that 7th inning when they scored 2. And Doolittle had him lunging for that one. Michael A. Taylor, 1 out. No better time to act than today. PNC, make today the day. And we check in on Matthew Crownover, lefty from Clemson. He had 11 strikeouts for the Potomac Nationals. Look at that, 18 Ks, and they lost the game to the Wilmington Blue Rocks. Well done, Matthew Crownover. Cespedes had never faced Sean until Doolittle struck him out to end the 9th inning on Thursday. Yoenis Cespedes, known as a quick starter since 2012, 5th among all major league hitters in RBIs coming in. With 106, he's added 7 more this April. Only Nelson Cruz, Giancarlo, Ryan Braun, and Miguel Cabrera more RBIs in the early months, March and April, than Cespedes prior to this year. Big rip, 1-2.
Yeah, ideally, you'd think Sean wants to throw a heater right above the letters here, right above the New York, or right around the New York.
Ooh, sounded like that one got a big piece of Pedro Severino's headgear on the way back.
That was a direct hit.
Wow. He's got the old school wire mask on the front of that thing.
And he wears his helmet forward. You don't see that too often, catchers. He's all right. Thumbs up. Let's go, baby. Love his energy back there.
1-2. Fastball, see ya. 2 down. So Doolittle has struck out Cespedes first 2 times they face each other.
Clearly in the box. Too close to take.
This will be an interesting game for the New York City evaluators to take a look at, if they so choose. First at bat for Adrian Gonzalez. He's been in the ball game since the 7th inning defensively in the series opener on Thursday. He went 1 for 4 with a base hit to left center. 0 for 2 career against Sean Doolittle. Check swing, strike 2.
Check out the wrinkle from Sean Doolittle, a pitch he really doesn't feature very often. He worked on it spring training, throwing some more sliders, and he's thrown 2 here to Adrian Gonzalez. Only threw it 5% of the time last year.
Yeah, great weapon to get him off the fastball. Now the lefty-lefty 0-2 matchup. Fastball up. Yes, struck him out. Sean Doolittle keeps the Nats within a run. Taylor, Goodwin, Severino, some energy ahead, bottom 9. Julio Teheran took him deep in Atlanta. Bryce Harper as well. What's new for that matchup? So Julio faced AJ Cole that day. He'll get Max on Monday night. Scherzer 1-1 with a 1.64 ERA. And Max will be making his 299th career start. We'll get you going with Nats Extra Monday night, 6:30. First of 3 with the Braves. Strike 1, Michael A. Taylor. That's the 10th pitch by Jeurys Familia and the 6th strike he's thrown.
Beat the Streak. Streaks were made to be broken. Make history and win $5.6 million. Download Beat the Streak today.
Michael A. Taylor, 1-for-10 career against Jeurys Familia.
I mean, any of these guys get on. Taylor, Goodwin, or Severino, the stolen base is in. I mean, just
Definitely.
get on. The Nats have run all over Travis d'Arnaud and the Mets today. They just need a base runner here to get into scoring position any way he can.
Taylor stays alive.
I mean, it's easy to say up here. Familia's throwing 97 on a cold day with a nasty split, but if you can find a way to steal first, it's a good chance to steal second.
So Brian Goodwin next. Way inside, took a little bit off on the slider. 2-2. Up and in. 1 out. 9th inning.
I don't think Michael A. Taylor thought this was going to do that. Looked like a slider that just backed up. Look at it. Taylor saw the rotation. He said, that's supposed to break down and away from me, and it went the other way. The opposite of what he thought the pitch was going to do.
Brian Goodwin, 1-for-1 with a double career against Familia. Yeah, it would be a 5-out save if he makes it that far, but he only had to throw 9 pitches to get 2 batters in the 8th inning. 0-1. Pedro Severino just got called back, and Matt Adams will pinch hit in a moment. Yeah, can't leave that bat on the bench when you're down by 1. Goodwin, a flare out to center. Easy for Lagares, and it'll be Familia and Matt Adams. And Matt's 2-for-4 career against him, with the Nats down to their final out. Mets trying to win a series here, with Roark and Harvey teed up for tomorrow night. Warmer Defoe if the Nats can keep this going. Adams up there ripping. 0-for-2 so far as a pinch hitter. Overall 2-for-10 with that long distance home run in Cincinnati. Fastball away. Trying to stay away from the pull side against this big, strong lefty. Ground ball. Mets win the series as Gonzalez goes to the bag, and they will try to sweep the Nats tomorrow night. Washington has lost 4 in a row, and the Nats are .500 now at 4-4 on the season. New York pitching has been tough in this series. So there's a Sunday night game. We'll join you Monday with Max Scherzer and Julio Teheran. Gio pitched pretty well today. 1 run in 6 innings, 5 1/3 innings on 6 hits. So we'll be back with you Monday night. This has been a presentation of Masson. Stay tuned now, Next Extra. Johnny and Ray, straight ahead and from Nationals Park. So long for just a while.